CapChat, the show that connects you to the faces, voices, and stories of Cap Fam. Today, we talk about business school and,
all things business. We actually just recorded it. So why we're like, because it was so much information.
I learned along with the listeners because I don't know anything about business.
Which is really great. I feel like because both of us didn't take business while we were here, while you're here, while I was here, past tense, But yes, we talked with Dr. Roy and Aaron Sullivan. It was fantastic. They gave us a lot of information about not only the internship opportunities, but, all things that are packed into the unique experience that Capital offers with studying business. So this is episode 7. Join us. Hello, this is episode 7 of CapChat Season 2. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Honecker.
And I'm your other co-host, Mary Claire Kunkel. And today we're talking about business, and we have 2 guests. So if you would like to introduce yourselves, who you are, if you're a professor, what you teach, if you're a student, what your major is, all that good stuff.
What your Enneagram number is, social security number, anything.
Yeah. My name's Aaron Sullivan. I'm a marketing and financial economics student at Capital. I'm a junior, and I'm also minoring in entrepreneurship. I've had a couple internship experiences. One at Nationwide Children's Hospital, and the other at 30 Lines, which is a digital marketing agency here in Columbus. Yeah.
Hello, good morning. I am Saurav Roychoudhury, but I go by Dr. Roy. It's easier for the students and my colleagues to pronounce my name. I'm a professor of finance and economics at Capital in the business department, and I teach mostly undergraduate finance courses, as well as in the MBA program, some of the finance electives and the core finance course.
That's fantastic. So when we've been talking about this, we start each episode with these areas of study. What are common outputs? What can students expect when they consider this? So we get some job descriptions together and talk about them in the market. So let's see what this looks like. So in studying business, one of the most common jobs that comes out of this is accountant. That doesn't surprise anyone. Everyone's like, yeah, got it. Cool. Another one is actuary. But then there are some really growing industries. Social media manager. It's like all-time high because of social media growth. And then healthcare administrator. Healthcare administrator. Administrator. I got it. Healthcare administrator. Do you want to guess the growth rate on some of those?
Well, it seems with a lot of baby boomers retiring, healthcare is going to be one of the booming areas, and I think the healthcare administrator would be probably the fastest growing.
You are correct. It is growing almost over 20%. So that is one of the bigger ones. Social media manager, there's actually a lot of numbers based on it. So actually a lot of people are saying in the next 10, 20 years, it's a large number, but it's a very arbitrary number because it's just all over the place. So we're going to say probably more than 20%.
And Capital has actually, like our business department in the past 2 years, have revamped the marketing program to include more of the digital marketing and social media marketing. And students do get internship in like social media marketing and digital marketing companies, which really help them to get a job or, enhance their experience.
That's awesome.
So yeah, this has been changed in the last couple of years, and we have some great people teaching it. So
you got to be on that cutting edge. If we're going to teach, we got to make sure we get them ready. The actuary is projected to grow by 22%. So that's much faster growth than a lot of other careers. And then we have accountants. Anybody's guess on accountants?
About 12%.
Wow, very close. 10% is some numbers, but yeah, 10 to 12%.
The growth of accounting has been since in I think 2002 or 2003 when we had an act called Sarbanes-Oxley Act, one of the names was Ohio senator or congressman, I forgot.
Okay.
And so that actually increased the amount of paperwork and compliance requirements and regulations, which made the requirement for accountants pretty, I mean, they were well in demand for that. And that growth has sustained. So in accounting, everybody who is an accounting major gets some kind of a job, and sometimes they get placed in the top 4 accounting firms like Ernst & Young and so on.
But I do hear that if you go into accounting, you have to at least like numbers.
That's true. I'm not myself a big fan of accounting. I'm in finance, but I need the numbers from them.
Right.
But yes, I mean it's but a lot of students who go into accounting also either do a minor in finance or take up financial economics,
Which
because
is
financial analyst is also a growing
I was going to say that.
Position.
That's great.
Okay.
So let's dive in. Business as and we have Aaron here who has studied all the business degrees. You're getting all of them.
Not all of them. No.
Not all of them, but 3. It sounds like.
Yeah, roughly. 2.5,
again,
we'll go with that.
Let's list them again.
So I'm majoring in marketing and financial economics, and then minoring in entrepreneurship.
All right. So talk to us about your experience. What is it to have this, study at Capital University?
I think I came in to Capital. I was a marketing student, and I was going through the curriculum and took one economics class and found out that I loved it. And at first I was trying to see if, timing would work out, if I could do 2 majors. And after talking to my advisors, found out that it would, and that those 2 majors actually coincide quite a bit. And I'm starting to see a lot of overlap. And I think especially with the opportunities for internships at Capital, I was able to gain some experience in internships and kind of use what I've learned in class and apply it in real world scenarios before I graduate.
With taking so many areas of study, what has been your favorite class and why?
I think Business 333, that was consumer research and strategy.
Okay.
Probably my favorite aspect of that class was a semester-long project that we did that was based on primary research that we conducted for the Drexel Theater, which is right across the street.
Okay, yeah. Drexel Theater is a local movie theater here in Bexley, Ohio, right across the street from Capital University. It's like one of the things you have to experience as a Capital student.
When I think of business, I have like a very vivid stereotypical image in my mind of like a clip art guy in a suit and like a little briefcase sitting at a desk. And so how accurate that is, but like that's my image of it. So what all goes into getting a business degree, and what's the importance of understanding business?
So when you described, would perfectly describe an accountant, but none of the other disciplines. So do you want to take this and then I can chime in?
I think from an outside perspective, that might be an easy way to look at it. I think especially with marketing and, probably I would say in the last 20 years with the rise of like different agencies and what other companies offer, there's a lot. It's a little bit more casual than it has been, and the job opportunities are much more broader, and it's not maybe exactly like what a corporate structure job 30 years ago would have looked like. With my experience in working with 30 Lines, which is an agency here in Columbus,
Okay.
They're very, very casual, and it was I think it was a good way to get my foot in the door and just see 2 very different types of businesses.
Now with 30 Line, I just want to dive into that a little bit. They're an agency. What kind of agency?
They focus on digital marketing, but they primarily serve multifamily housing industry, so like apartment complexes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So how did you gain that opportunity, get that internship?
That was through my advisor, Lynn Daly, who was also the professor for Business 333.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
All right. Well, see, make friends with the faculty and the admin here at Capital University. They are your resources. Take advantage of it.
No, that's a big advantage at Capital. Small class size, personalized attention,
Right.
and you can actually work one-to-one with a dedicated faculty through independent study or course by contract. Those are fantastic. I mean, I have students who had done individual projects with me and have used them to apply for a graduate study in good places like Vanderbilt University, George Mason, and
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
So those are big advantages. And I have had students who have gone for master's program and PhD programs. So master's programs. Recently, somebody went to Newcastle University, and then I had a student who finished his financial account major in 3 years,
Whoa.
and they went to University of Texas to do his PhD in finance. So
Man, that's kudos to him. So actually, Dr. Roy, can we talk about dovetailing on that, the opportunities not only with the faculty, but also there's a lot of internship opportunities. One, Capital University being here in Bexley, which is seated, right in Columbus, which is a Midwest hub, and there's a lot of businesses and opportunities here. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so we do have. So I can speak more about the finance and accounting program more than the marketing. Everybody who's in accounting program gets some kind of internship, and they have the internship credit built into the system. So almost everybody takes an internship in the spring, and that's the busiest time for the accountants. The tax deadline April 15th, so auditing and other stuff. And Columbus is the capital city, so you have a lot of demand for state as well as corporations, public corporations, and private corporations. So there is a big advantage there. So accounting students have the internship built into their curriculum. For finance, there are places like JPMorgan Chase, Huntington, and Diamond Hill, for example. There are a lot of wealth management firms. So that's one of the areas where you're seeing a lot of growth, wealth management, because all those baby boomers retiring and all those people making a lot of money, they need personalized attention and where to keep the money, where to grow the money, where to save for retirement, save for their kids' education and other things, buying a house and stuff like that. So there has been a lot of boutique investment management or wealth management firms in Columbus.
You mentioned that there was a very competitive internship with JPMorgan Chase, and 2 students were selected.
Yeah. So JPMorgan is huge. It has, but their fixed income division, which is huge. They have their fixed income, which is like they work at bonds, mutual funds, and we do have alumni who work there. So they have a very competitive internship program, and they select 1 or 2, or even if they don't find anybody, they don't select none.
Wow.
So like last year they had, or the year before that, they had, the same, you have to apply for a summer internship. And we had students from Capital and other universities apply. And ultimately there were 2 students selected. One was from Ohio State and the other was from Capital.
That's awesome.
And the Capital student ultimately, did very well, and he was offered a full-time job as an analyst.
This is great. Thank you, Capital students, for doing that and representing the business area of study really well, because I wasn't going to shine very good if I had to take the ETS. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Education, Testing, Services, just a way to see how your students are doing, and it's based on general topics, all around business. So not just accounting.
Right.
You have marketing, you have finance, you have economics, you have other stuff where they're tested on that and they score. And every year we kind of analyze. And one of the way we do it, and we have to subscribe to the ETS, where they give us very detailed report, student level report, and there we know which topics students struggle in, so we can emphasize more on that. So we try to always change our syllabus and curriculum based on what we see, where the deficiencies lie. So for example, one of the areas we found there was deficiency was apparent. It was still at par with the national and Ohio average, but we want to do better. And that was in the area of quantitative methods.
Okay.
So we increased. So for example, financial economics requires a calculus.
Yay, calculus. Have you taken it yet?
Last semester.
And how'd you do?
I did well.
All right.
Yeah, I took it in
didn't.
high school too. So yeah.
Again, good. Gosh, just kudos to everyone. You
So
all
we
are
we are
so
putting
great.
more emphasis on that, statistics and that. Also, like through internships, we do exit interviews with so we have an internship like a faculty who coordinates our internships. You can get credits for internship depending on how many hours you're spending with it.
Of course.
All of them have exit interviews, and we ask what are the things you need to see in the students and stuff. So, for example, a couple of years back, one of the requirements for most of the internship companies where they should be proficient in Excel. So now we have put a course, which it was there, but it was a 300 level course, but now we have moved to a 200 level course so that before they take finance courses, like which I teach, where I use a lot of Excel, they need to take that course. It's a MIS or something where they use heavily, they do Excel a lot.
For students who are interested in working in nonprofits, is Capital a place where they could do that and explore that, like possibly for an internship partner with a nonprofit to kind of learn about how those operate?
Yeah, I did I've done one internship through the Moore Consulting Group, and I guess there's a multitude of options that come along with which company you like to work for. I chose Nationwide Children's Hospital,
Oh, okay.
but beyond that, there's Red Cross, American Heart Association, Pelotonia, and I was able to kind of expand on nonprofit, and I actually learned, I think that's an area that I want to explore a little bit deeper, maybe after Capital's working for a cause. I think personally that's something that drives me. But it's beyond internship opportunities at Capital that involve companies that drive profit. Nonprofit is a good way to get your foot in the door.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm a film major, and so I've never set foot into a business class before. Why is business important? Or for prospective students and current students who may not know anything about business, why is it important to understand it?
Personally, I think every class that I've taken, there have been a handful of students who are not business majors, whether they're business minors or maybe just taking it as an elective. There are many music tech students, there are film majors, and they take it because, at least from what I understand, they want to learn a little bit more about maybe running their own business. And I think it's always a good way to, it's always something that you can have in your back pocket for like a personal skill set, or something to fall back on. You never know what may happen. You could start your own business.
You could start your own business. Don't do it. Very dangerous. No, you should. Entrepreneurship is amazing. Which you're taking entrepreneurship, a minor in entrepreneurship. I mean, is that something that you might want to do?
Yeah, my grandfather actually started his own business that my dad still works for. It's an insurance agency out in Marysville, Ohio, and it was definitely an area that I thought I might want to explore. So I added the minor, and I'm starting to explore writing like a business plan for one of my internship classes.
That's fantastic.
So I'll give my answer based on finance. So I'm a little bit biased towards financial economics.
Of course.
So I would see a business, again, any business, could be a private business, could be could be a partnership, could be a corporation. Basically, in the business, there are three important decisions which managers have to make. One is finding a good project, it's called an investment decision. So, for example, Disney came up with the recent big project, which was Disney Plus, right? So, what goes into that? So, you have the marketing team, the operations team, the finance team, all working together, and what they have to do is they have to come up with projections in the future. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. What do you look at the cash flows, which are like profits, but add some additional stuff into it. And then you have to see whether it's valuable or not. And the way you do it is you do what is called capital budgeting decisions, where you use tools which are taught in business core classes, as well as if you're a financial economics major, you do it in advanced corporate finance classes and stuff. where you use tools like net present value and internal rate of return to
Yeah.
evaluate whether this project should be there. Okay, whether it's good for Disney to take the project, which will increase the value of the business. And now, because nothing in the world is certain, and we also emphasize some tools which are used in real world, like they do what are called scenario analysis. You can actually do a cool scenario analysis in Excel. They have a scenario manager. You just
Okay.
have to construct the model very well so that everything is linked. Then they do a sensitivity analysis. What happens, like, if interest rates went up? What happens to the borrowing cost?
Right.
What happens if the demand goes down, if the price goes up, and stuff like that. So they do and try to see whether it makes sense or not. So that's one aspect, and that's where the marketing, the production operations all come together. It's like a cross-functional team effort. The other decision is financing decision. Now, when you have decided or you're going for a project, how to fund it? Okay, and there are two broad ways you can fund it: using own money, or the companies, if it's a publicly traded corporation, using equity, which could be the cash, the retained earnings the company has, and also borrowing, like debt. So what would be a good mix? Okay, and you want to borrow at low, as you want to raise this fund as low as possible. Okay.
Right.
So because that's a hurdle rate, that's the one you need to beat, right? So a good mix of equity and debt would try to minimize what is called the weighted average cost of capital, which is kind of basically the hurdle rate. And then later, you've taken a good project, used a low finance rate to finance it. And then how do you distribute the profits back to the owners? If it's a private company, it's easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a publicly traded corporation. How do you return it back to the owners in the form of dividends, interest payments to the debt holders, share buybacks and stuff? So that's the distribution decision. So I see a business composed of three decisions, and all those are taken by financial managers in such a way that it increases the value or the street price of the company. So
Right.
value is like what you can sell it for in the street. So not street. So that's basically there. But everything.
That was such a speed course. Did you get all that, Mary Claire?
No, but I'm sure somebody listening who knows things about business or is interested in business.
I got it. That was fantastic for me. I really appreciated that speed course because I think it comes down to awareness. Whether you are going into a study of business specifically because you want to prepare yourself for some kind of career in that field, or you're in a very specific field, maybe it's the arts, film, or something else entirely, I think it comes down to awareness. You need to know how businesses, because you're going to interact with them, either work for them, work in them, contract to them. Like, you need to know how all that works. And that education will come as very valuable depending on what your relationship with those are in the future. I mean, that's what I got out of it.
That makes more sense. I heard a lot of business terms and then got overwhelmed. That's why I need to take Business 101.
You need to take Business 101. Is there a class that a student should take with, maybe they're not a business major? Is there a class that they should take to gain that awareness, to be able to help them in their future?
I think Business 101 is a great class. It looks at all aspects of business and all the disciplines of business, gives you a good awareness, and also it tells you, gives an idea to the student whether is that a major they want to pursue in the future at Capital. And so a lot of students just start as undecided, but after they take the Business 101, they decide to be a business major. And there are some students who come in as business major and then decide, well, that's not the area.
Right.
So it's a good class and we have like 4 sections, or 5 sections each semester of Business 101. So there is a lot of options to get into. And there you get an overview of all the business aspects. You get the overview of stock markets. You get the overview of private businesses, a little bit of accounting, a bunch of marketing stuff. So it's a great class, I would say.
That's awesome. We've talked a lot about your experience and the business study, of course. What would be your advice to prospective or incoming students that are considering business as an area of study?
I would say definitely like dive straight in, and with a put a lot of effort into it. There's no harm in trying something and not liking it. There's you can always, I guess, when you're going through college, you can try a multitude of different courses and degree options, and it's really no harm for yourself. And I think that's what's been the best thing for me here at Capital is I've been able to take classes along the way and be like, oh, I like that a lot, and I pull that into my skill set. And now, as I'm approaching, a year out from graduation, I'm starting to build this a fairly unique skill set that I feel like I can take into the business world and use it to my advantage.
Thank you both for your time and so much information about this. I hope you guys have had a great time. And
it was a pleasure. It was great.
It was super great having you guys.
Thank you.